Okay, this is another one in our series of videos for Ann Arbor Trout Unlimited. Remember, if you like this or make a comment on it, you'll be put in a drawing for the next month's drawing of something fabulous, or maybe some flies or something, whatever I have laying around here. Last week I showed you how to tie some really cool streamers. And I said this week we'd talk about putting a stinger hook in that streamer. And so typically you can do it a couple different ways, and there's lots of different things. But I'm just going to give you the basics on how I do it, and it seems to work fine. So first I'll lay on, this is the main hook, and I lay on good solid thread base. And then, very simply, I want the stinger hook to hang on the back. And sometimes you want it up, sometimes you want it down. It depends on what you want to do. There's lots of materials you can use. I build guitars, so I have a lot of like guitar wire that I can actually use. But I found the simplest way is to, just go in your tippet material. And I have some 0x tippet, which is like 10 or 12 pound test. I'm not sure exactly what that is. And I cut off like a hunk of it like that. See, if you can see what it is. So the first thing you do is you tie it face towards the eye of the hook. And give it lots of nice wraps. And then you trim off this loose end over here, tag end. Then you point it back and tie that on there. Now at this point, you can either just loop this and then tie it back on, or if you want to, you can actually put the hook in. What I like to do is I wait on this. I take my line and I make a loop for however long you need that stinger to be. And in this case, about, I'd say about the length of, a little longer, about 1.5 times the length of the hook. I bind that down. And literally I fold that over again and bind it again. Now that thing's not going anywhere. And what I then do, a few more, and then once I have it bound down really, really well, what I'll do is I'll take my glue and I'll apply some glue to that. And that thing isn't going anywhere. And it's 10 pounds. It's basically two 10-pound tests. So that's 20 pounds. I'm not going to catch any fish much more than that. That's going to pull harder than that. Okay, so that's pretty much how I get that line in there. Then you say, but Mike, what do you do at that point? Here, let me just tie this off. Should have put the glue on there because now I'm going to have glue all over my hands. Basically at this point, so you have a hook and this loop. You then take that loop. Now let's see if I can do this on video without looking too ridiculous. You take your hook, and this is I think this is a 6 weight, and you need to squeeze this guy really, really tight. And sometimes, if you're good enough, you can push that through. Just like that. You push it through. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get this up close enough to where you can see. You push it through, and then there's a loop. So it's through the eye, there's a loop. Then you just pull that loop over the hook. and that forms that just sort of grabs on there. So there's no real, it's not like a knot, it's just kind of a loop-to-loop connection. And what it does then is it gives you a really strong connection without a lot of bent thread. At that point, then, you can take your materials, and I'm going to use some silver here. Let's just use some silver. Actually, first I need to, here we'll finish tying this up. So now I have my hooks ready to go. I'm going to take my wire, put on some weight on there, because I know I'm going to need it. Get my thread back started again. There we go. Trim off this excess. Sometimes I put peacock herl there, but we're saving some time today. Show you how fast this whole business is. I take a big chunk of this silver. I'm taking a big chunk of the silver. So I've got a big chunk of silver. I'm going to find the halfway point of the silver. There we go. Fold that over. Put on a head. There we go. And then tie this off. I'd probably glue that at the end. And there you go. There's a hook. So I have this hook here, and I have a second hook back here. Now, if there's an issue with having two hooks, you can always cut this hook off. It's not a big issue, but that's like a cool streamer that's going to catch fish all day long. And that took all of a few minutes to tie. And there you go. So remember, like this or comment on it. I like comments, by the way, but feel free to comment there, like it. And you may be able to win a famous prize, maybe that fly, at the next TU meeting.